consistent word that I was called whenever I was working a shitty 9 to 5 that I used to work back in the day when I was like 15 to 19, 20 years old is that I was lazy. And that honestly took a massive toll on me because everyone around me was doing their job. They weren't complaining about it. They were fine with making 100, 200 bucks a day. But for some reason, I was the lazy one. I couldn't stop getting distracted. I was on my phone every single day at work. I couldn't care in the slightest about moving up or getting a promotion to be the top server or manager at a restaurant. I couldn't care in the slightest about working any single 9 to 5, and I probably worked every single job under the sun. I've worked at Target, I've worked at multiple different restaurants, I've done a bike taxi job. I've done so many different jobs in my life, and the consistent factor in every single job that I've had working for people is that I'm quote unquote lazy. And this year at 22 years old, I took home a little over $800,000 after working at a restaurant 15 months ago. And so I've spent a lot of time thinking about me, quote unquote, as someone that is lazy, figured out a business to make over $800,000 a year and make more money than most people. The biggest thing about laziness is the avoidance of effort. And the only reason you would avoid effort is if you're not passionate about what you do. So everyone watching this video, if you work a 9 to 5 job, you are lazy. You just don't know it. Every single day you go to work, I guarantee you're scrolling at some point. You're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. You're taking a longer lunch break than you should. You are lazy. You're just better at hiding it than I was. So since working that job, the only thing that's possibly changed as far as me, who I am as a person, is my mindset. My work ethic never changed. My laziness desire never changed. The only thing that changed was my mindset and the vehicle that I was making money in. The second you start to switch into a vehicle of something that you somewhat enjoy rather than just showing up to work every single day hating what you do, is the second that laziness isn't even a factor anymore. There's two types of laziness, and the type of laziness you are depends on what job you work. Number one is unproductive laziness, okay? This is laziness when you hate what you do, so you go out of your way to distract yourself by scrolling, by taking lunch breaks, by talking to your coworkers. This goes with school as well. Every single day in school, I was falling asleep in class. I couldn't care in the slightest what the teacher was talking about. I dropped out of school my first semester. It was just something I couldn't care less about. It was something I never wanted to do. I couldn't do my homework. I just didn't care. And if you are that type of person, which not a lot of people are, every single person that worked with me around school and at my job for the most part, they actually didn't mind it. They really didn't mind it. Every day they woke up, they were pretty happy to go to work. They were happy, mingle with their coworkers and make a few $100. They were genuinely happy, right? They didn't really care that much. But for me, it was like the worst thing in the entire world. I just couldn't imagine myself possibly being a 30, 35, 40-year-old person working a 9 to 5 for someone that just couldn't care less about me. It was just tragic to me. And I know that sounds a little bit intense, but that's just the way I felt about it. And that's who this video is for the people that feel like that as well, because I know there's got to be people like that out there. And that's the beauty of the internet, is I can literally target people that feel that exact same way. The first type of laziness is unproductive laziness, where you just absolutely hate what you do every day, so you try to avoid it by doing different things that isn't your work. The second type of laziness is strategic laziness. So it's people that build businesses that run on their own. It's people that focus on passive income. It's people that try to focus on building income streams that rely on leverage rather than actually working your ass off every single day with your hands. So if you're a lazy type of person and you're choosing the unproductive laziness rather than strategic laziness, you are just wasting your life away. So this quote unquote laziness that I had is the exact reason why I've made more than 97% of people at 22 years old after working at a restaurant last year. Because if you don't understand that the richest people in the world aren't the ones actually sitting there doing the hard work every single day, then you're absolutely cooked, okay? If that was the case, then all construction workers would be super rich, all restaurant workers would be super rich. It's just not the case in this life. And so if you have that trait of being quote unquote lazy, you are in such a blessed position you don't even realize it. I knew that when I was working a job, I had to figure out a way to make money before I even started to slightly enjoy my life. In my opinion, life really doesn't start until you're making over $30,000 a month, because then you can actually have time to think. You have time to be creative. You have time to give back to your family, to actually do something you enjoy with life. And if you don't have that, it's damn near impossible to actually get out of your head and think about what you actually want out of this life. So your first goal, if you are just sitting working any sort of job, is to be making $30K a month consistently without working your ass off, with having free time in the day. And that is so beyond doable. And with the new age of making content and selling products online, it is so beyond doable. It's not even funny. I was able to hit that $30K a month profit goal within 6 months of actually giving an effort from quitting my 9 to 5. The number one way to make a lot of money and use laziness to your advantage is by using leverage. Okay, what is leverage and how do you gain leverage as someone that has absolutely nothing? There's a lot of ways to do it, okay? So For example, when I was working at my restaurant job, I knew I had to get out. And everyone online keeps saying, do sales, do sales. Sales is a great way to make a lot of money if you don't have a college degree. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do sales, okay? The way that I leveraged sales was that instead of going and knocking door to door and selling pest control or selling some sort of solar, I decided to leverage an influencer's audience, go into their DMs, and everyone that was a fan of that influencer and wanted to buy products from that influencer and trusted that influencer, I was the guy that basically booked them calls. I was the guy that basically would talk to them on the phone on behalf of the influencer, sell them into the influencer's program, and then get a percentage of everything I made. I was basically using the influencer's trust, using the influencer's audience and leveraging that into making myself money. Instead of going out and knocking doors every day like a hard worker, I was just sitting there on my phone texting people all day, making anywhere from $300 to $400 a day once I started this. Essentially what leverage is it's just using tools, it's using your surroundings, it's using your resources, your tools, people around you to make making money more easy. It's just supposed to be an easier way to make money. And if you can figure out a way to leverage yourself, leverage another person, leverage something to make a lot of money, you are in a golden position. That's why if you have the trait of laziness, you are ahead of 90% of people, because a lot of people don't understand that. I realized this pretty quickly when I was working at a restaurant making about $200 to $300 a day. I would ask myself, who is making the most amount of money in this room? It wasn't the busboy, it wasn't the server, it wasn't the manager, it wasn't the cooks. It was the guy who owned the restaurant, who came in once a week, said what's up to everyone, and then left. That was the guy that was making all the money. So in my head, I'm like, isn't this guy the laziest one in the room, right? He's not doing any work. He's doing absolutely nothing but making 50% of the money that we make. That's the guy you have to be. That's the person that you have to strive to be. And every single person in the system of working at a restaurant, the busboys, the servers, they can't see far enough out to realize that that's the person they have to be. They don't believe that they can be that person. It's just weird. A lot of people just have weird self-belief stuff, and you just can't ever let that get to your head, because in the moment's notice, you could change from working as a fucking busboy to making $800,000, $900,000 a year, and I'm a pure example of it. So I'm making this channel to pretty much yap about my journey and some things I've learned along the way, and this is one of the biggest things, is that laziness is the hugest trait I've ever seen in my life to people being successful. Every single really successful person I've ever seen or met that's around my age is super lazy. And by lazy, I just mean they're effective at leveraging systems to make them money while they sleep. That is the best possible way to do it. And obviously you can't leverage yourself to the point of making $30,000, $40,000 a month in your sleep right off the bat, but you can start to leverage yourself by using someone else's audience to make money because you don't have one, or replicating a competitor's e-com store because they're already making money. There's different ways to leverage yourself instead of just sitting there and working your ass off day to day to make pennies on the dollar, rather than people that are quote unquote lazy making all the money. I don't think I'm the greatest person to take advice from. I'm also not the greatest entrepreneur in the world. I just haven't had enough time in the game to be a phenomenal entrepreneur yet, but I have gotten to a point where a lot of people would like to get to. So I figured it'd be stupid not to share some of my tips in my journey. Out of every single person in the room, I was probably the last one that they would have picked to actually start a business that would do over $1 million in a year, especially how quickly it came up. The best possible thing you guys can do if you're watching this video is use other people's hard work to get yourself rich, okay? Use an influencer's audience to make money. Use a competitor's brand to replicate your own. Do something that someone has already done and use it to your advantage to make money. The best possible thing you can leverage yourself to do. All I do on here is talk about business. I'm just doing complete just yaps on here. I have another channel where I actually in-depth talk about high ticket sales and stuff. I'll link it down below. But if you guys like this style content, please like and subscribe. I'm doing these pretty much every other day. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.